Super Rugby Friday games, folks. 2 wins for the 2 teams from the South Island of New Zealand. Big old win for the Highlanders at home, and a solid enough win for the Crusaders away in Canberra. We'll go over some key events, some stats, upcoming fixtures, and then I'm going to go to bed because my son's got rugby in the morning. And at junior grade, they tend to play him pretty early. So, yeah, first one. Highlanders in force, 61-10, man, is an absolute hiding. What do you say about this one? I mean, it was a flying start. Makaleo gets a try. Michaeli Tu'u gets a try. Gregory gets a try. Umanga Jensen with a really smart play to kind of his hand on the ball at the ruck and just jump through before anyone notices. Is he there? I don't know, man. It was like 28-5 after 23 minutes. Thrush did get one on 10 minutes for the Force, but man, it was pretty tough going. Dixon goes off for a yellow card, and then the Force guys did get one through Andrew Reddy. So half-time, 28-10. It's still looking like a bit of an uphill battle, and the Force guys, unfortunately, can't score any points in the second half. Their only contribution on my whiteboard anyway is a red card to Richard Kahui, and they did get a yellow card as well. Kahui's one is head-on-head, which these days tends to be red, and sure enough, it was. Kaitu'u also got yellow carded at one point, which led to some shenanigans with the whole, because it's a discipline thing, meaning that you guys can't, because the other hooker had been injured, because you can't field a hooker, even though Medrano apparently can play hooker, but he wasn't registered as a hooker because he's playing prop. They had to go down to like 12 guys because they had the red card, yellow card, and then Golden Oldies scrum all at the same time. I don't know, it took way too long. I mean, I feel a little bit sorry for Ben O'Keefe, who was trying to make sense of it, but yeah, it was a bit nonsensical. It took way too long. What else do you get? You get tries. Fakatava gets a couple. Marshall gets one. Marshall's one was a pretty... Oh no, Fakatava's one. Marshall set it up. A proper, like, I've been speaking about the Highlanders doing a nice, sweet line-out move for ages, like a proper Tony Brown move. Like, throw the line-out ball in, back to Tom Marshall, who, or was it Reese Marshall? Goodness me, I need to go to bed. And he kicks it through for Fakatava, who ends up... Well, he's not kicking it for Fakatava, but Fakatava's the one who gets it. And, yeah, I don't know what to say, man. It's a bit of a crazy try. So, Harmon beating Mata Elliott to the final ball for their final try was pretty crazy, but what can you say? That's 2 weeks in a row that the Force have had hidings. Dan Leonard-Brown took a pretty reasonable shot at goal for the last one in his 100th game, but ended up missing the conversion. But, I mean, maybe the story of the day for the Highlanders, Sam Gilbert at 10 was pretty bloody tidy, wasn't he? Obviously, it's not his sternest test at 61-10, but, man, he looked pretty comfortable. So, he might have just put Mitch Hunt and Marty Banks out of a job. We'll kind of have to wait and see. But, like I said, either way, this one's a big old win for the Highlanders, who are now 3 wins on the trot and may be coming right at just the right time. Possession's 49-51 to the Force, so pretty tight. But run meters, 469 to 263 to the Highlanders. 7 clean breaks to 1 to the Highlanders. Highlanders only lost 3 rucks the whole game. The Force lost 8. So, yeah, the Highlanders were just way too sharp this whole game. Gilbert, like I mentioned, gets 8 conversions. 4 defenders beaten, 56 run meters, passes 12 times, runs 12 times, so a nice kind of balance in his gameplay. Really, really solid stuff. The Force, Fergus Lee Warner makes 13 from 14. Tackles, he's too slow to stop Michaeli Tu'u peeling off and dummying for one of his tries, but that was more the scrum being kind of turned than anything else. But yeah, there you go. Highlanders looking the business. They are home to the Waratahs next, so they'll be looking to finish potentially in 8th, I guess, because I think there's still a bit of distance between them and the next team. But they could give whoever they face in the quarterfinals a bit of a hurry up. We'll have to wait and see. The Force, it doesn't get much easier because they are away to the Chiefs. The next game, the Crusaders against the Brumbies, 37-26. The Crusaders, in the first half, you'd have to say, were pretty comfortable in this game. Second half, the Brumbies make a pretty decent comeback, but it's a wee bit too little too late for the Brumbies, unfortunately. And the game was never really tight enough to make it kind of an edge-of-your-seat game. The Brumbies needed one more score to bring it close, but they didn't quite get it. They threatened to get it towards the end of the game, but they couldn't quite get it. I mean, the Brumbies did get the first try through Simone, which was maybe a bit fortuitous. It looked a wee bit like a knock-on. Certainly a few years ago that would have been a knock-on, but they said there's no separation, so a bit of luck, bit of skill. It's a try for the Brumbies early, but then Rodney Iona, to be fair, hasn't had a lot of game time, with Lolosio being the guy in the last few weeks, but he looked a bit rusty, and he ends up getting charged down for one, which leads to a Crusaders try through Taylor, and then Taylor ends up putting a grubber kick through. I don't know what it is with the hookers putting through little kicks for these two South Island teams, but yeah, Cody Taylor tried that one, and then Iona managed to miss it, and Reese ends up being the guy who gathers it, so he gets a try as well. So 2 tries for the Crusaders in the first half. They end up going into the sheds with a 23-5 lead, you know, with some points from Richie Morgan's boot on top of that, and that's kind of what blows out the scoreline a bit. I mean, run meters at halftime was 219 to 286, so the Crusaders are edging it. Defenders beaten is 14-6 to the Crusaders, and the Brumbies have had 9 turnovers conceded to 5. But the Brumbies certainly, whatever they say at halftime, it works, because they come out a better team. They end up scoring 3 tries to the Crusaders, 2 in that second half. So Simone gets a second, runs a really great line to cut back in. Fine Guy gets one from close range, but the timing of the tries meant the Crusaders kind of always kept it that 2 or 3 score lead, you know what I mean? So they score on 47, 56 one for Hall. Hall's one was a really smart bit of halfback play to dot it down. And then Fine gets one on 61, Jordan gets one on 65. So just when the Brumbies are edging it back closer, the Crusaders kind of take it back away from them. Tom Wright gets an intercept one where he really kind of steps and jinks and jives for that one on 72. But they needed one more try just to get within losing bonus point range and to make it game on. But they couldn't quite get it. They did turn the screws towards the end, but they just couldn't get it. A couple of times the Brumbies would find the space, but they just didn't have the support. It was actually a little bit frustrating. You'd have to say, though, in this game, although he's not on the board, Pablo Matera was an absolute beast. Big carries, big tackles, turnovers. He was just absolutely everywhere. He finishes with 6 defenders beaten, which is the top man. 41 run meters, 8 from 8 tackles. Yeah, he was an absolute beast. He should get Crusaders player of the match from their little online vote that they do. Tom Wright, 142 run meters, 2 clean breaks, 4 defenders beaten, plus a try. He was loving a wee jink and jive in his own 22A. I think the Crusaders guys were starting to cotton on to that by the end of the game. Possession finishes 50-50. The Crusaders have better in the first half, Brumbies in the second. Run meters finishes 579 to 430 with the Brumbies edging that. But the tackles, man, the Crusaders make 167 to the Brumbies 146, puts at 90%. So the Crusaders, their kind of core gameplay plus, you know, the obligatory Will Jordan try, just too good, man. So yeah, the Crusaders, they are back, baby. I mean, they were never gone, but yeah, they're doing well. Brumbies handed their second defeat of the season. The Brumbies are next home to the Blues. So the Blues have kind of got this act to follow. And the Crusaders are home to the Drua. So, yeah, it doesn't get any easier for the Brumbies, but it gets easier for the Crusaders in terms of being able to maybe rotate their squad a little bit, because there was a lot of All Blacks on display in that team today. And, yeah, we'll see how they go in the lead up to the finals, which aren't too far away. Right, guys, I'm going to go to bed. You guys let me know your thoughts on these games. As I said, 2 wins for the South Island teams here in NZ. 2 losses for the Aussies, but we'll see how things go on Saturday and Sunday. And, yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.